Hey everyone, welcome to Beyond the Bacon Experiment Holiday Dinner Edition. So we're trying to put together a holiday meal that's completely ketogenic that keeps you on the program with a few little extras that are exceptional for special occasions.
So what I'm doing right now is I'm going to cook our turkey for half the time, whatever that may be, which in our case is 3.5 hours. Then we're going to be doing something with this,
Dun, dun, dun.
which we will show. And what I did, and I always do this with every turkey, is even though it's just a butterball turkey that we're using today, I pull the skin up and I use probably half a pound of butter. And so if you had, the sticks would work really well that are in quarters, the quarter sticks. Put a quarter on each side over top of the breast, and then as that's cooking, it's, you know, basting as it goes, and so the turkey doesn't dry out. It turns out really good like that. And we will be doing something else, which we will show in the next clip.
Hey everyone, so we're getting ready. The turkey's been in the oven for half the time. So now we're just doing a simple bacon weave, and we're going to place that on top of the turkey. But for those of you that might be a little bit confused about how bacon weave works, you can see that we put ours out on a parchment sheet, and then we'll flip it over on top of the turkey when we're done. Doesn't it look beautiful? So you just alternate every other strip and place one strip across, and then put the other strips back down. And just repeat the same action over and over. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, don't worry if your weave isn't tight. That probably sounds terrible, but it always looks good on the turkey, and then the fat drips off and it makes the best kind of gravy.
Yeah, the gravy's pretty awesome. So,
Oh my God, it worked out perfect for the last slice.
I feel like we've done this before.
Maybe.
Ooh, I might add
a little practice.
I might add one more.
One more strip?
Keep that protein in. Okay.
Beautiful bacon weave. So next we'll show you how we flip it onto the turkey and then put the turkey back in the oven and cook for the remaining time. All right, so we have the bacon weave. It's all set. So what I like to do is I hold like this, and it may split apart, but it'll all come together on the thing. So I just hold from both middle sides and very quickly, just like that. I'm just gonna use a fork so I don't burn myself on the pan. And there it is, covering the turkey. And now it won't be dry. So it's cooked for half the time. And now we're gonna pop it back in the oven.
Hello everyone, we're making one of the sides for our holiday dinner. This is pancetta, and there's 3 grams of carbs in the whole bag. We're gonna fry it up. Got some bacon grease already in here. We're going to fry this for a few minutes, and then we're going to add in some cabbage, which we have right here, ready to go. It's half a head of cabbage, all cut up. Didn't make the pieces too small, good size. turn this up just a little. Gonna render this fat down a little bit, just even give it more flavor when you cook the cabbage. Really good. So I am adding the cabbage into the pan. There's lots of rendered fat in here. Hopefully this cooks down okay. So I added that into the pancetta pan. And now we have 1 teaspoon of fennel, 1 tablespoon of gray salt, kind of like sea salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. Okay, and now I'm going to grind some fresh peppercorn into this, which I would say about 1/2 teaspoon, probably 1/4 teaspoon maybe of pepper. And we will come back. I'm going to put a lid on this and let it cook and steam its own juices here.
So here's another one of the sides that we've come up with. It's just simply Brussels sprouts, and you're going to use, again, the pancetta. Like we said before, this was the kind that we found at the grocery store. It was about $5 for the bag. So it's just a little thicker cut ham. And then what I'm gonna add to this is a small tablespoon here of avocado oil. And I'm just gonna drizzle that over the top. And then I also have apple cider vinegar, so I'm gonna add that as well. And I shook this up just before we started filming. So I'm just gonna add that. It gives it a little tartness. And then we're gonna throw this into the oven at about 350 for maybe 20 minutes or so, and just keep checking it. And that's it, simple.
Looks yummy. And in goes the ham and the Brussels sprouts. This is a pre-cooked ham. Not doing anything whatsoever to it, just gotta heat it up. So it should take about the same as the Brussels sprouts. Took our pre-cooked ham out of the oven and carved it. We're gonna plate it, and pretty soon you can see the end result. Now we're making the gravy. There is 1 cup of turkey bacon drippings. I'm gonna add another cup of this organic chicken broth, just to make sure we're making lots of gravy here. Everybody seems to love it. All right, 2 cups. That should be enough. Stop. To steal a little bit of your avocado, if that's okay. I'm going to do a little roux. So I'm going to put 3 tablespoons of avocado oil. You could also use olive oil for this. So first, I'm going to use a couple different thickeners for the gravy. I'm going to put in 1/2 tablespoon of xanthan gum in the oil.
So the oil goes into a separate measuring cup with the arrowroot powder.
That was xanthan gum. This is half a tablespoon of arrowroot. So now we're making a roux over here. I have half a tablespoon of xanthan gum, half a tablespoon of arrowroot. Both of those are pretty good low-carb thickeners. I'm also going to add a tablespoon of Great Lakes gelatin, collagen. So I'm doing 1 tablespoon. Get this going. You want to make sure your roux is very blended. This is to thicken up our gravy. If you just add the powders right in to the broth and the drippings, it'll all clump together. So that's why it's important to make it separate. Okay, I'm going to add this in slowly while stirring. Now all I got to do is bring this to a light boil and shut it off, and it will thicken up. Voila!
Hey guys, so now we're going to make breadless stuffing. This is a beautiful sausage and mushroom recipe and a cream sauce. Always goes over really well with family and friends. So you're going to want to start with your pan at medium heat. This one's already heated up, so it's pretty much ready to go. And we're going to use a 1/4 cup of butter. So 1 stick of butter, right?
1/4 pound?
1/4 pound, right. So I'm going to put that in and let it get started. You can turn up the heat a little to get it going and then reduce. So what you want to do is get this whole block of butter here, this 1/4 pound. When it starts foaming like this, once the whole thing is melted, then we're gonna add some spices and salt, some really yummy stuff. So I'm just gonna cut it down here to try and get it to melt a little quicker. You don't wanna burn your butter, so don't go crazy high heat. I've got it at medium. So you can see medium, you know, if I went this much, it would probably burn before I had a chance for it all to melt down. So you want to stick to medium. Slower is better. Beautiful butter. Get those pieces, and then we want the whole thing to have this foamy texture. So we're pretty close. All right, so now I'm going to add the spices. I've chopped a couple of sage leaves. You can use as much or as little as you like. I did about 3 or 4 smaller ones, and then I did half a teaspoon of thyme. So if you're using fresh thyme, you just want a couple of sprigs. So I'm gonna put that in there. And you'll be able to smell it. I'm gonna turn my heat down a little bit so I don't burn the butter. So that smells really yummy.
Ghee would probably work good too.
Yeah, you could use a ghee if you have ghee. All right. So now I'm gonna add the mushrooms, and what I like to use are oyster mushrooms. We'll post a picture for you to see. So on the bottom half here are oyster mushrooms, and then on the top are crimini. So I'm just gonna, I've got about 5 cups of mushrooms total. You can use 5 to 6. So I'm just gonna put these in here. Don't crowd the mushrooms when you're cooking. You want them to cook nice and evenly, brown up. And this one smells amazing as it's cooking down. So I'm going to increase the heat a little bit, probably just a little bit above medium, just because we want to get this. So you can see the butter's coating the mushrooms really nicely. We've got the spices in there. And your mushrooms always shrink. So even though it looks like a lot, that's why I use so many cups. And the reason I use king oyster or oyster mushrooms in general is because they have a really nice texture and they're very filling. They've got sort of a chewiness to them. And they go really well in this recipe. So I like to mix them with the cremini. Mix them around here. I'm going to add a few more mushrooms. I'm going to add some more over here. Now I'm crowding the mushrooms so you can see, don't follow what I'm doing right here. They just cook easier and much faster. So you'll see now that the pan's crowded. And sometimes I'll chop the mushrooms with the spatula just to get them a little smaller. I'm going to mix them all up, make sure everything gets coated nicely in the butter and the spices that we've put in there. You can use your traditional stuffing spices if you want. I use sage and thyme, so that's what I use. And I just make this, I always make my stuffing separate from the turkey anyway, and it's nice because you can make this ahead and just keep it warm in the oven while the turkey's finishing up. Now I'm going to add some salt. So I like to use a coarse salt for all my cooking. That's just my preference. Everybody's different. I've got a tablespoon of coarse salt here. I might not use all of it. We'll see. I always add most of it and then taste test towards the end and see, and then you can add some salt. So always have a spoon on hand to do a little taste test so that you get exactly the right taste that you like and you don't have something that's over salted. So our mushrooms are looking really good now. I've pre-cooked some sausage, so we took them out of the casings, just chopped them up into large chunks. So we're going to add this in.
1 pound of sausage?
1 pound of sausage. If you can buy it ground, that's fine too. I just like it this way because I can make it into the little chunks.
I think we're using Italian mild.
Yeah, these are sweet Italian sausages. So we check the carb count on them, make sure they're safe to use, total keto friendly. And now I'm going to add half a cup of 35% cream. Some people call it whipping cream. I'm going to add that to this mixture. Just enough to make a nice little sauce. And I'm going to sprinkle it with a teaspoon of arrowroot powder, just to help with the thickening. Mix that all in together. And you'll see it makes a really beautiful sauce. And this is a really quick dish to put together too, even if you wanted this as a meal. It's nice. Just make sure you get all the powder mixed into the cream, mushrooms, and sausage.
This is always a favorite, I find. Everybody fights over it. It's gone pretty quick.
So now I'm going to reduce the heat down to low and just let this simmer for a minute or two, just to let all the flavors come together nicely. Make sure everything's cooked beautifully. And then you can just pour into your serving dish and watch everybody fight over it. Enjoy. Hey everyone, so here's the Easter table ready to go. We've got our Brussels sprouts, our ham, our gravy's in the background there. We've got our sausage breadless stuffing and our beautiful bacon weave turkey. And then as well we have our cabbage slaw with bacon pancetta. And we're all set to go. So really simple, easy, low carb holiday dinner.